Hello everyone, my name is Thomas Eck and welcome to my channel. Today I decided to do my very own Yukiko 2.0 guide. Now, before we jump right into it, let me just give you like an overview of Yukiko. If you played Yukiko in Vanilla and Ultimax and you're wondering if Yukiko is good or not, she's not. In my opinion, she's not that strong in this game, unfortunately. I still think Yukiko is still low tier, even with all the buffs that they gave Yukiko in 1.5 and 2.0. It does help Yukiko out, however, but it's not really game changing that would make her, top tier. So that's like a brief overview of like if Yukiko is the top tier, low tier or not. Yukiko's playstyle, she is supposedly supposed to be a zoner. She's supposed to be a zoner, but her zoning isn't that good, like compared to like Batista zoning or Hilda zoning or even Rachel zoning, to be honest. That pretty much sums up Yukiko's like character wise of how Yukiko's playstyle is. She can also be a rushdown character as well. Her rushdown is okay. It's really just meh, to be honest. It's not good, but you have it. You just have to use it. Now let's go over briefly of Yukiko's pros and cons first. Her first pro is that she has a very large hitbox with her normals, which is really her 4A. Her 4A has a really good hitbox, I must say. It can actually be not a good anti-air in my opinion, but if you read it correctly, you can punish people from the air by using her 4A. I'll give you an example of making Ragna jump to me and attack me. No, that's not a good one. That one's good. Okay. Now, I'll demonstrate it. Whoops, did it too early. Okay, do it again. Shoot. As you can see here. Now, her next pro is Yukiko has really good damage potential once she gets her fire level up to level 6 or higher. The main goal for Yukiko is to get her fire level to as high as possible, I say, because sometimes it's really hard to get Yukiko up to level 9. But if you do get Yukiko to level 9, however, she can do ridiculous amount of damage, and I'll demonstrate one right now. And that's just by using 3 bars. She can do ridiculous amount of damage. Another pro is Yukiko is really good at being the last character. So let me make him. Yukiko is really good at being the last character if you get her fire level up to like at least level 6 or higher, in my opinion. So let's get her to level 6, for example. Let's make Ragna block. Wait, oops, hold on. see the amount of chip damage Yukiko can do upon her enemies? It's really, really good. And also, if you get her fire level up to level 6 or higher, she can do ridiculous amount of damage too. Oops, wrong one. So, for example, what should I do? This, ooh, got another one. So you get to her fire level 6. I don't think you can rig it. Yeah, dang. If only she can. So, like this. Like that. So when your opponent blocks and you get her fire level to level 6 or higher, she can do ridiculous amount of chip damage onto the characters when they're blocking. And she has really good combo potentials. Combo damage potential by doing that. Next is her somewhat mix-ups, I guess. Actually I can't show you. There's a little trick that I found online that will help you go out, but I'll go more in depth to it later. So as for mix-ups, she can do this. That's considered an overhead. Do her jump C. Can't get that much combo value off of that unless you call out an assist. Can't really do anything. Can't do anything but do her Agni. Oops, wrong one. That's all you can do. And if your opponent decides to block the jump scene, you can just do this. Continue with the string of 5A. This is considered a low, and this is considered an overhead. So your opponent would have to guess which one Yukiko would do. Either do a low attack or she would do an overhead. Next is Yukiko is the only character that doesn't require any meter to recover her health, which is her DP. She can recover her health by just using DP, and she's the only character in this game who doesn't require to either use meter or to do a combo and heal herself, like Celica, for example. Because Celica can heal herself by doing her combo, and she can also heal herself when she's heal herself by using a bar. And Elizabeth can heal herself by using a bar as well. Last but not least is she has somewhat of a good keep away. Her fans specifically. Oh, let me make him regenerate himself. Her fans is a really good tool to throw at times and for people like from a far distance. Okay. Now let's go over her cons. Her cons is she has slow normals. Although her 4A has really good hitbox, it's really slow, making it really risky using that at times, to be honest. Another pro is Yukiko doesn't have a lot of health, which really sucks because as Yukiko, your goal is to try to increase your fire level, but since it chips your health by increasing her fire level, you are really putting yourself at great risk by doing that. Another con would be is Yukiko is very, she relies on meters a lot. When you play Yukiko, you want to use your meters a lot. So when you're trying to find a team that will sync well with Yukiko, you want to find someone who doesn't really need meters that much. Because the meters really Yukiko needs a lot, just so she could increase her fire level or throw out her X version Maragion. And sometimes throw out little Agni, the X version of Agni at times. I'll get more into details on when to use that, by the way. Other thing is Yukiko doesn't have good normals to deal with when her opponent is up in her face. She does have 2A, but it's not really a good range, to be honest. It doesn't have good range, unfortunately. Although it's really fast. It's really fast, but it lacks range. And although you can use her sweep, but the only thing you could do with her sweep is just do Agni. That's all you can really do with it, to be honest. You can't like extend it like this and get them away, or when your opponent's blocking. You can just push them away. But with this, all you could do is just do Agni or do that. It's just, I don't really like using the sweep too much, to be honest, even though I should, because one other thing about her sweep is it has good range. It does have good range. It's better than this to 2A, but I don't know, I just don't like using it that much because it's really unsafe. I'm not unsafe, but you don't have a lot of options by doing that. You don't have a lot of options to do that. Another con for Yukiko is, although when you get her fire level up to like level 7, not 7, like 6 or higher, it requires it requires like a good like hit in order to like do a really good damage. So like, say like you manage to, let's make it stand. So you manage to get a low and then connect with Agni. Now of course you can do great damage from doing that, but say like you do this kind of combo. You don't do as much damage when you do it like that way. Even though you have level 9 fire. And there's one other thing that I think it's a bug, because Yukiko should be able to do that. While I was labbing, when you get like a counter hit, this was what happened. You would hear the announcer saying counter, and you'll see like how badly damaged you can do to Ragna. But say like you try to get a low after the third hero of 5A, it's not considered a counter hit, and I don't know why it isn't. And if it's considered a counter hit, then she could do something like that. But since she can't do that, it's, I just find that really strange that this isn't considered a counter hit. but this is considered a counter hit though. Boy. Overall, Yukiko is not as weak as she was before. When she was released, she was terrible. She was so terrible, but now she's okay. Ooh, I forgot. Her persona. One other con about Yukiko is you have to be careful of throwing her persona and throwing her fans, because if it whiffs, you're in trouble. If your opponent managed to either jump up and get in front of, like Yukiko for example, nah, not like that. Like that. Nope, that's not good. No, that's not good either. Come on. My goodness. What? How do I do? Okay. Do that. See that? If it whiffs, then you're in trouble. And if it whiffs with on a fan, if you whiff on her fan, you're in trouble as well. So do be careful on that, because it takes Yukiko ages for her to recover after she either throw her persona or she throw her fans. Now that we're done with her pros and cons, let's move over to her normals now. Let's make them crouch and make her, nah. Let's go over normals. Let's go over her 4A first. Like I said, 4A has a very large and good hitbox, but the only thing that I do not like about it is that it's really slow. So look at Ragnar for example. Ragnar's 5A is really fast and has really good reach. And it's a really good footsie to throw out at your opponents. Now if your opponent continues to keep using footsies, Yukiko doesn't have any good normals to really deal with that. See how both of them have really fast move to stop Chie's pressure, for example? Yukiko, on the other hand, doesn't have it. If you make Yukiko do a fast attack, only thing she has is her 2A, but it's not, although it's better than nothing to throw her 2A, it's really kind of risky, because a good Yukiko player will be able to, for example, not a good Yukiko player, but someone who has a lot of experience going up against Yukiko could do something like this. Let me use Neo, for example. Let me switch. Let me use Neo, for example.
Get ready.
Oops. They'll be able to jump over to A. And although you can do her sweep, but her 2A is much faster than her sweep, so it's not a good idea to do that, to be honest. Okay, let's bring it back.
Get ready.
Okay, next with her 4A, we have her 5A. Oops, let's make him stop doing a fast attack. Her 5A is one of her best normals, to be honest, because the best thing about her 5A is you can't push her persona back. As you can see, your opponent will still have to deal with her persona still attacking her, which is pretty good, because your opponent would have to guess either she'll do an overhead or she'll do another low, or she'll do a low. Even though you don't get much combo damage, or not combo damage, no combo worth, like meaning be able to do that much. You won't be able to do that much even if you do get an overhead or do a low. All you can do is continue the 5A or do an Agni. That's all you can do. And her jump C. Whoops. You can only do that. You can only just do jump C and Agni, basically. But you can call out your assists to do more combo work, like do more of a combo, like we have Cheer, for example. Like that, basically. That's somewhat useful. Her jump scene. It's a really bad habit of me to keep throwing her jump scene every time her opponents get closer to her. It's really not good, because if your opponent blocks it, then it's unsafe to just throw it out like this and not do anything to follow up with either Agni. Only thing you do is just Agni. So I really need to get in the habit of doing that. And also, it's sometimes not really good to do that also, because characters like Ragna and Murakami, for example, can just use their DP to punish Yukiko by doing that. It has its use. Like I said, you can just do this, but that's the only that's the only thing that's really jump C is really worth. Excuse me. That's the only thing jump C is really worth. Really, other than that, I wouldn't just keep randomly throwing that out all the time. I'm just used to doing that in like Ultimax, because that was like, you know, that's how Go plays. She could throw her persona from a distance, but now she can't, basically. Her 2A, oops, not that one. Her 2A, it's really fast, I'll admit. It's really fast. Like I said, it lacks the range. It lacks range, but it's really fast. And if your opponent is up in your face, you have really no choice but to just throw out her 2A, to be honest. I wouldn't continue doing this string though, because your opponent will not even most likely, will push block you, just so they don't have to deal with any of Yukiko's normals, basically. So really, in all honesty, I would just do this, basically 2A, 5A, A, basically. Now, her sweep, it's a pretty good sweep in my opinion. It has good range, a little bit slower than 2A, but it's still a good sweep. Also, you could special cancel it to Agni, Maragion, and you can even cancel it into a super. You can't cancel into Maragion though. Can you? I don't think you can. Oh, you can. Oh, that's news to me. But it's still not that big of a deal, to be honest. It's not really that big of a deal. Her next is her fans. 4B, 5B, and 6B. 4B is when she throws her fans slower. 5B is when she throws her fans regularly. And 6B is when she throws her fan pretty fast. I usually like to throw 6B just to like punish like Adachi, for example, when he uses I'll give you an example.
Get ready.
And you do that. So I can punish him, punish his persona, basically. Because he loses chip damage while doing that. I know it doesn't show that he didn't lose any chip damage, but that's because I got him the enemy to regenerate health. So let me show you. See, that's most of the times that I usually use 2B, or if characters want to like do that. For example, if characters constantly keep throwing, like Narukami, for example, her Zayed, his Zio, then I challenge it back by throwing her fans. You know, there's a better option of doing with that, but I'll get on to that later. Her 4B and her 5B, you just, there's no like special occasion of like when you should use 4B or 5B, to be honest. Doesn't really do much, to be honest, but you could just throw them out just random like that. You can chain them together, like do 4B 4B, 4B 5B, 4B 6B, or 5B 4B, 5B 5B, 5B 6, 5B 6B, 6B 6B, 6B 5B, 6B, and 4B. I don't really like throwing her fans too much. Like, I don't really like doing that too much because she recovers pretty slow after she throws her second fan. Even when she throws her just one fan, she recovers a little bit longer. So I don't really like to throw her fans standing too much. Most of the times I like to jump and throw her fans. It's much better in my opinion. Because your opponent if your opponent gets closer to you, you can just go back like that. Her 2B, 3B, 2B, 3B, 2B, and 5B. That's considered Yukiko's anti-air. It's somewhat okay, but it's not the best anti-air, to be honest. Like I said before in pros and cons, if it whiffs, you're in trouble because Yukiko takes so long for it to recover, and your opponent can do nasty damage to you. And what makes it worse is Yukiko's health is so low. She doesn't have a lot of health, so you have to be careful with that. Sometimes when you do her 5B and then connect it to 5A, sometimes it doesn't connect. Even if, and the worst part about her 5B or 2B is that if you hit your opponent up in the air and it's a counter, they do not suffer any kind of long stun at all. It's like the same thing as hitting like your opponent normally, basically. The more I talk about Yukiko, the more it makes me so depressed. Yukiko could be so much better, but they're not giving that opportunity for her. Now we will move on to her super. First super we're going to talk about is Agni. Agni is pretty good in my opinion. Let me make it not block though. Agni is really good. It's really good to like if you want to switch off one character who has like a fast super like Jade's God's hand. So like for example, yeah. So like that can help. Also, if you're able to get her fire level up to level 6 or higher, and you do like what's it called? Oops. During Distortion, she could do great damage with our Agni. So let me give you an example. Oops, I didn't mean to bring Chia into it. But yes, she does a lot of damage when her fire level is a level 6 or higher. Or, yeah, she just do a lot of damage when her fire level is level 6 or higher. Other than that, you really want to use Agni when you do a combo, really. Or if your partner has a super that is just quick and easy to so she can help Yukiko escape. Next super is Maragion. This version of Maragion is supposedly be good for keep away. I don't really have that much to say on this Maragion, to be honest. I don't really like using it too much, to be honest. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. Meaning, like, sometimes if you catch your opponent off guard doing that, that's good. But people who play against Yukiko a lot is always going to expect Maragion. Now, when she does Maragion from afar, however, this is pretty good in my opinion because it brings your opponent back. And the best part is your opponent can't push block it, so they're forced to deal with it. As for example, let's make it to 6. And is he blocking? No, he's not. Wait, hold on. See, as you can see, it was still bring me closer to me, even though he's push blocking it. I usually like to use Maragion when I'm at full distortion, or like when or when I'm in resonance. I meant to say I usually like to use it when I'm in resonance, cause you can chain Maragion to any other Maragion like this. Like that. I really like it a lot. We talked about her supers now, so let's bring Chia back. So now let's talk about her her specials. I can't believe we didn't talk about her specials before do her supers, but whatever. Let's get on with her special now. Agni. It's kind of trash in my opinion. It really is because say like you throw two Agis out like that, the Agi will disappear immediately when you block or you get hit, which makes it really not a good idea to like use it as a keep away. So like you like leave traps like that, like Natsuki for example, and you can't do that. No. What what is useful is like you could just do this. Wait, stop, reject, stop doing that, Adachi. Like, let me see if this works. Oops, no, that's not what I wanted. You can punish Yukiko's persona by finishing on that move, by the way. But not a lot of people don't know that, so. But what I mean by Agi is do this and just throw like an Agi real quick because some people won't expect that. That's one useful thing about it. It's not really that helpful when you try to hold it from here. You even do it like that. I don't really think it's useful. Sometimes you can get a combo off from it. Sometimes you can't. Like say, see, as you can see, you can't really get a combo off from that. You really can't get a combo off of that sometimes. Not even sometimes, you just can't get a combo of that no matter what. God, it's killing me of going over all the flaws of Yukiko. But yeah, that's that. Her X version of Agni. I throw it out sometimes at random with if my opponent's health is like really low, because the best part it tracks. But not when you're up in the air though. It only tracks like for example like this. It only tracks them where you threw your Agi at, which is okay because if your opponent jumps in the air, you can just throw that out real quick. So yeah, I only use the X version of Agni for like if my opponent's health is pretty low and I just throw Agni out just to finish him off, or I use it in a combo, for example like this. I want to go over combos later, but I'll just show you like one combo. So basically like that. Next is her Maragion, which is this. We have the fast version of Maragion, the slow version of Maragion, and the fastest version, which is Maragion. This, you want to throw this out when you are at a distance. This is a really good tool to zone. I really like it a lot. It's really fast, but she recovers pretty slow from it. But only use this when your opponent is at far, like at this distance. Don't use it when your opponent is like close, like this, because she recovers really slow. Don't just don't do it. The next version, Maragi, the slow version. I usually like to use this when I want to get close to my opponents. You can run to it like that, and if you hit the opponent, then you can do something like this, and then push him far again. So that's that. And the X version of Maragion, I love it so much. It's really good. It's so fast. It's almost inhumanly impossible to react to it pretty fast. It's that fast. You have to automatically block low in order for it to block, to be honest. And I like it because say like your opponent is going to use one of their supers. Oops, block me. Oops. That's not what I wanted. That's not what I wanted, but that's another pro of using this, because she recovers really fast from it. She recovers really fast from it, which I really like about it. I thought it also keeps them at bay for them not to, like, you know, throw out a super like that, but I guess it doesn't. Interesting. Another thing that I want to point out with Maragi and Maragion, you can stop it at whenever you want by holding the button and letting it go. So like that. Which I really like, because you can control like where you think your opponent will get hit by the flame. And I usually like to use the slow version of Maragi when I run towards it, and if opponents try to get closer to me, I have to stop right there. And then if they get hit by the flame, the Maragi, I can continue on with my combo. I almost never like never try to stop it when I use Maragion, the X version of it, because it's that quick, like it'll get closer to my opponent in seconds. Next is her when she increases her fire level. So this is when you do 2-2 let me talk about it. Let me do all of it, all the versions. So 2-2 2-2 and 2-2 Let's first talk about her 2-2 I would usually throw 2-2 if we add a far distance, to be honest. Like if you're from this distance and you do, like, let's say the slow version of Maragi, you can increase her fire level by getting up to 2 if possible. Or you do the fast version of Maragion is what it's called. You can increase it like that. And you throw your fans out. You can just throw a fan and then do increase her fire level. This is only really good, in my opinion, if you're like from this distance and you want to get cheeky and try to increase her fire level like that. Yeah. The next version, 2-2, it's good but not good, because although you do increase her fire level twice, it is really slow. She recovers pretty slow from it. When the time to use this, I usually do it on a combo. So let me give you an example. End it by increasing her fire level level 2. What's also good about this is it's safe. So if your opponent tries to DP, like, let me switch Narukami off real quick. I mean Adachi, and then bring Narukami in. Oops. It's safe on block, so don't be afraid to throw that off. Throw it out at times. I almost never try to increase our fire level, like use 2-2B from this distance, especially against characters who are zoners like Hilda and Adachi and Batista, etc. Because they can punish you from afar, so I almost never really do it that much. I will do it if like my opponent, if there's like only one character left and he or she is not a zoner, then yeah, I'll just randomly throw that out there at times to increase our fire level. Next is her X version of her let me find out the name of it again. Her Fire Flame Boost, her Flame Boost is what it's called. The X version of Fire Flame Boost. This is really good because she recovers like instantly. She recovers instantly by doing that, which I really love it a lot. You can actually do it by in a combo too, so let me give you an example. Like that. I should be doing that more often because the goal for Yukiko is to, your goal as a Yukiko player is to try to get her fire level up as high as possible. That's your goal. Okay, I think we've covered all her supers and her normals. Oh, let me talk about her DP. Her DIA is what it's called. One thing that I really like about her DP is that back in Arena and Ultimax, it chips her health a little bit when she uses her DP, but now in this game it doesn't. It's still kind of slow. It's still kind of a slow DP. Like some DPs, some characters' DP is really fast, like Narukami, for example, he has a very fast DP. Her DP is still kind of slow a little bit. But overall, it's has its pros and cons. You can recover health a little bit by using her DP, and you can push people away by DPing as well. So yeah. Okay, so that concludes all her normals, DP, her specials, and her super move.